What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Gennady Golovkin. Triple G, as people know him as, is officially, by popular demand, on the redemption list. Now, how did he get on the redemption list? A lot of times people think that you take a loss, you're on the redemption list. It could come from a loss, but in Gennady Golovkin's case, it did not. It did not come from a loss. That loss he took from Canelo Alvarez, it cost him a lot. It cost him the IBF title, which, strangely enough, he ended up fighting another fighter for that. But that same fighter, which is Sergey Deverenchenko, was the reason for why he was stripped, because he was following or chasing, should I say, a Canelo Alvarez fight, a rematch. And he got the rematch. Amongst getting the rematch, he was beat in a close decision by Canelo Alvarez, of course. Canelo on points. Hashtag Canelo on points. But since then, his career has been questionable. And this is what put him on the redemption list, okay? For one, he got rid of his own longtime trainer, Abel Sanchez. These guys decided to split. It was over money. Yes, it was over money. Now, after that, he's fought 2 fights, okay, after his loss to Canelo Alvarez. This guy is 37 years old. His birthday is April the 8th, so he'll be 38 years old soon, okay? So he's 37, turning 38. And a lot of fighters that he could have fought in his 41st fight. You know, you had Charlo, you had Billy Joe. I think that was before Billy Joe went up. You had a lot of fighters that he could have fought. Demetrius Andrade. He could have fought a lot of fighters, but he decided to choose Steve Rolls, a Canadian that no one ever heard of. Sure, he was undefeated, but come on. He had so much potential. He dismissed the Danny Jacobs rematch, okay? Avoided the fight, saying I didn't want to fight someone like Jermall Charlo, which Jermall Charlo was also an undefeated guy. You know, hard-hitting undefeated guy, but he hasn't been tested either, so why not take him on? Why would you drag Steve Rolls out of Canada? I know, you wanted an easy pick'ems. You wanted an easy pick'ems from a tough fight with Canelo Alvarez that you suffered your first defeat. Doesn't matter if people thought he won or not. What does matter if the fight was close? Was it a robbery? No. But is Canelo Alvarez ever going to lose on points? No. So he should have known that from the beginning. I keep telling people that. The first fight was actually a win, but they gave it a draw. So that's kind of like a Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder verdict. It's a moral victory. People know you won, but guess what? Keep fucking with them, and it gets closer, you're going to lose. And that's what happened to Golovkin, okay? Gennady Golovkin then fought Steve Rolls, which everybody was like, who's that? He teamed up with Jonathan Banks, and Jonathan Banks tried to teach old dog new tricks, and as soon as he started getting popped, the head movement that he learned went back to the traditional European style, aggressive style that he's used to. Now, he's still a good fighter or whatnot, but he's still lacking the opposition. Now, at first, this is what makes it so bad for Gennady Golovkin, okay? Gennady Golovkin was that guy back in the day, okay, when he was knocking out guys like Willie Monroe Jr., David Lemieux, Dominique Wade, Martin Murray, Marco Antonio Rubio, right? Knocking out these guys, you know, Daniel Gill, guys like that. When he was knocking them out, he was looking for these fights, and these fights weren't there. Now these fights are there for him. People are calling them out. I remember when Erislandy Lara called him out. And Abel Sanchez was, no. He didn't want that fight because he's not a big enough draw, but they failed to realize that Lara was on a pay-per-view before you. He was headlining a pay-per-view before you were. Make that make sense. Gennady Golovkin's first pay-per-view was against David Lemieux. Did terrible. Terrible ticket sales. Madison Square Garden, terrible ticket sales. Did he pick David Lemieux apart? Hard hitting, probably one of the hardest hitting middleweights that we have at the middleweight division. Yes. But did he pick him apart? Yes. But guess what? That was the highest of the height of his opposition until he came up against Danny Jacobs. Now, he decided to fight Kell Brook. Kell Brook was a guy coming up 2 weight classes, right? How much credit will you get for that? He broke the man's face, okay? How much credit would you get for that, not breaking a smaller guy's face? Where's the integrity? Where's the reverence in that? What is that? Okay? So we had those fights. Danny Jacobs, people thought he lost, right? Then after Danny Jacobs, he drawed with Canelo Alvarez, okay? But mind you, the knockout stopped. After the Kell Brooks fight, the knockout stopped. Okay? That took away his knockout streak. Yes, he dropped Daniel Jacobs in the 4th round. Okay. But Danny Jacobs came back to make a great account of himself. Him and Andre Rozier, his head trainer at the time. Okay? Now, looking at this, looking at Canelo Alvarez, the draw, he goes, and this is what he does after the draw. He fights Vanes Martirosyan when Canelo pops dirty, okay? That's not his fault. However, he could have chose to fight someone different than Vanes Martirosyan. There were fighters that were already there. Vanes Martirosyan was 154 pounds sitting on his ass, and you decide to fight him? Where's the reverence, okay? Redemption needed. Much. Because Vanes Martirosyan, sure, he was knocked out in, what, 2 rounds? 3 rounds? 2 rounds? But, I mean, what do you expect? Again, now you got a smaller guy you're fighting. So, let me get this straight. Kell Brook, coming from 147, moves up to 160. You break his face. You go in there. You have it's a unanimous decision. A lot of people thought that it should have been closer than that. And a lot of people thought that Danny Jacobs did enough to win. However, okay, I don't personally. However, though, he didn't knock that stopped his knockout streak. Daniel Jacobs, Canelo Alvarez stopped his knockout streak. He drew with Canelo. Okay, Vanes Martirosyan, boom, knockout in the 2nd. Again, smaller guy, people, smaller guy. Then he loses to Canelo Alvarez in a close decision, majority decision this time. Okay, then what does he decide to do? Go back on lower opposition. You know, let's go back to another tier. No, guys, I want an easy fight, guys. That's what he done. He picked Steve Rose. You know, maybe it was a decision with Jonathan Banks to see where he was at, so they didn't want to put him in with someone tough with this new style. I get it. But guess what? Sergey Guderinchenko, another rise in opposition. He gets hurt for the first time. You see what I'm saying? And after that fight, he's denied, rejected the top fights like Andrade, like Billy Joe. He did that twice with Billy Joe, mind you. Okay? Who else was on the table for him? Jamal Charlo. That fight was actually orchestrated. That fight was mandated by the WBC, and he didn't want to. He didn't want to take it. He didn't want to deal with that. So here's the thing. So what I'm guessing is Gennady Golovkin's on that redemption list, and until he starts fighting some formidable opponents, he will stay on that list. Okay? Ranks number 6. Why? Because, yes, he took his first L. Okay, I get it. It's politics, but it was a close fight. But you're supposed to stay at a certain level because you're at a certain level coming from someone that knows what it's like to be ducked. See, that's very hypocritical where you accuse people that, I want drama show, I want to fight right now. But then at the same time, when you get that fight, you get that money, and then you draw with Canelo, then you get beat by Canelo, you go back in opposition. So you're doing something that everyone else was doing, and you're accusing of everybody else of doing. Golovkin is supposed to be that guy that's supposed to fight anyone because people were ducking him. Now no one's ducking him, now you're ducking them. What is that? Hypocrisy. That's what that is. That's why Gennady Golovkin's on the list. He could have fought Danny Jacobs, but again, Danny Jacobs is, on the level. Right? On the level. Right? He's on the level. So he didn't want a rematch with him. He wanted Canelo. Why? Because now it's about money. Right? Sure, I'll fight Canelo because Canelo got the money. But then no one else is worthy. Oh, except Steve Rose and Kell Brook and, these guys. You know what I mean? Vanes Martirosyan. These guys are on your level. No. Unacceptable. That's why Gennady Golovkin is on the redemption list. We've already discussed how he will get off the redemption list, if he ever will. Do you guys think Gennady Golovkin will ever get off the redemption list, or will he retire and stay on? But that gets you off the list if you retire. You can't stay on the list if you retire. But will he retire? Will he redeem himself? You guys let me know. Leave your comments below. Please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Also, it was over 900 views for Gennady Golovkin. And the second guy that hit the list below that, we will add to the list as well. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, you guys been counterpunched. Peace.